Today is a day for truth.
The fear of the enemy who has covered me up for 20 years, not allowing me on their major television stations, not allowing me to be interviewed.
Minister Farrakhan, thanks for joining us.
Minister Louis Farrakhan joins us now from Chicago.
We're back on Meet the Press, and with us now, the leader of the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Welcome.
A lot to talk about, so let's begin. Louis Farrakhan joins me from our studios in New York.
For now, though, let's bring in Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam. He's joining us from Chicago for this Q&A.
Minister Farrakhan, thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.
I'm very honored to be with you, sir.
Not unlike his mentor, Louis Farrakhan has been misunderstood, misquoted, vilified, and venerated.
I sat down with Minister Farrakhan in a Nightline exclusive.
Mr. Farrakhan, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, joining me from Chicago is Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam.
Minister Farrakhan, thank you so much.
I'm honored.
Minister Louis Farrakhan, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you, sir.
Minister Farrakhan, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
Bob Novak, heard you speak in Florida recently.
We're speaking with the outspoken leader of the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan. Mr. Farrakhan, good to speak with you.
In person, this rather private man can come across as earnest and reasonable.
In an interview on CNN's late edition with Frank Sesno, Farrakhan dismissed charges by Vice President Al Gore that the Nation of Islam leader is un-American.
Leader Louis Farrakhan is holding a commemorative rally in New York.
You fill Yankee Stadium.
I never was in Yankee Stadium.
Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan headed last year's event, and he is at the helm once again.
Iraq is on the itinerary of Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan.
Earlier today, I spoke exclusively with Minister Farrakhan from the capital of Zimbabwe, Harare.
Coming next, Minister Louis Farrakhan on tomorrow's Million Family March.
Today, your chance to talk directly with one of the world's most powerful, yet most controversial men. Minister Louis Farrakhan is leader of the Nation of Islam.
We'll ask the leader of the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan.
I want to serve notice on Mr. Richardson and the government of the United States. And I think it's largely because after the Jesse Jackson campaign...
What do you have to say to people who look upon you as a divisive leader?
That threatens white supremacy. There is a knee-jerk reaction. Mr. Foxman, I think, likes to use Farrakhan to raise money for the Anti-Defamation League. And
Elijah Muhammad also said that whites are blue-eyed devils. Do you believe that?
Mr. Farrakhan, are you still being accused of being anti-Semite, and if yes, by whom and why?
Are you a Semite?
The oppressed in the scheme of reconciliation.
You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet.
No, I am not speaking strongly against the Jewish community at all. And if Gaddafi and his people are guilty of that, they stand condemned. Then we need to get rid of it and put in a government that will guarantee the American people life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have not plucked one hair out of the head of no white person or black person, no Jewish child. I went to those countries like his Secretary of State goes, and nobody accuses the Secretary of State.
As we met at his home in Chicago, I asked Minister Farrakhan if he still holds to those beliefs.
And that's why the CIA has been guilty of assassinations all over the country. Is it Gaddafi tomorrow, Assad in Syria the day after, Fidel Castro the day after that? If I have done evil, Mr. Russet, I've said it here. I'll say it one more time.
What was your relationship to the Jackson family? Michael Jackson, Jermaine Jackson.
Well, I don't know the Jackson family as well as my children. I look at Lucianne Goldberg, Linda Tripp, Monica Lewinsky, and I ask myself...
Well, a short while ago, Mr. Farrakhan said he was looking forward to visiting Britain as soon as possible to meet his followers.
But if in a dialogue you can show me where I am in error, I am not a proud man. I will humble myself and go before the world and apologize. I use freedom of speech responsibly to correct a government that I feel has gone wrong.
The Million Family March tomorrow in Washington, what do you hope to achieve?
We are joined again by Louis Farrakhan from Chicago. Minister Farrakhan, I'm sorry that I have had to interrupt you a couple of times.
You said, Minister, if we can close cities down across America with a Day of Atonement, it sends a political message of never again. What does that mean?
Well, to tell you the truth, when I first said 1 million, I saw the number go out of my mouth and I looked at it. And you have ruled and you have done great things and awful things in the time of your rule.
I'd like to talk for a minute with you about the billion-dollar gift.
Muammar Gaddafi pledged $1 billion to the Nation of Islam.
You are a loophole for Muammar Gaddafi, who you say offered you $1 billion?
I'm not a pawn of Mr. Gaddafi or anyone else.
And how are you feeling? Because we know you were suffering from, I believe, cancer not that long ago.
Minister Farrakhan, you are perceived as being extremely anti-Semitic.
No, all the evidence is not in, sir.
It's been an enlightening discussion. I wish we had more time, but perhaps we'll have you back another day.
Mr. Farrakhan, we thank you for sharing your views.
Reverend Louis Farrakhan, when we come back.
All right, Minister Farrakhan, thank you very much for joining us, staying up so late.
Minister Louis Farrakhan, we thank you very much for joining us this morning and sharing your views with us.
Thank you for the honor of being on Meet the Press.
I want to thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, the satellite is going down.
Minister Louis Farrakhan, we thank you for joining us this morning on Meet the Press.
Minister Farrakhan, look, we wish you the best of luck with what you're doing with the Million Man March, and we do appreciate you coming on Fox.
Minister Louis Farrakhan, we thank you for joining us.
Minister Farrakhan, thank you so much. I hope you'll return and join us again and we can continue this dialogue.
Minister Farrakhan, it's always too short when I have you on the program and too infrequent. I hope you'll come again soon.
I was and I remain absolutely innocent of any involvement in the assassination of Malcolm X.
For we are people that you can trust.